Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel, King Alexander. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. Also, sharing is caring. Don't forget to share with your friends, your family, on your timeline, on your social media. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Also, give the video a thumbs up if you like it. If you don't, give it a thumbs down. Also, don't forget to comment down below in regards to your thoughts or opinions on anything that we're going to be talking about today. So today I wanted to come on here and make a quick video and talk about a story that I read from the Associated Press in regards to former Minneapolis officer, yes, Minneapolis officer Kim Porter, who was charged or is going to be sentenced on Friday for the killing of unarmed Daunte Wright. And we all have heard the story. So Kim Potter is former Minneapolis police officer who was in charge of, from what I remember, of other officers. She was a specialist in making sure that other officers were trained properly in how to interact with the public and making sure that they knew basically what she couldn't figure out herself, which was the difference between a handgun or a gun, an officer firearm, and a taser. So Kim Potter pulled over Daunte Wright for having expired tags and having an air freshener in his window. So that was the reason for the original stop. Once they pulled him over, they found out that he had a warrant for weapons charges. So they decided to, Kim Potter and another officer decided they were going to arrest Daunte Wright. And from what I understand, I guess things went left when he decided to leave, or was going to try and leave the scene. So again, I want to talk about what the Associated Press. So there's a story about Associated Press, which is kind of, the title is misleading, and I don't understand why they keep trying to play on words. So I want to read a little bit of the article to you all and get your thoughts and opinions and share my own thoughts and opinions as well, because I honestly don't understand why they keep showing favoritism to all these police officers who decide to keep killing unarmed black people. It's almost as if like you're just not safe. You can't go anywhere, especially when we talk about the original reason for the stop was because he had expired tags and an air freshener in the window. So if the air freshener was a minor charge or was irrelevant, why do you all keep referring to it in the media? And then two, if it was an expired tags, you know, again, how did we go from having expired tags to the man winding up being killed? And in the same police department as the George Floyd and all those other officers who were involved in his murder. So it's like, here it is, this woman is a specialist police officer in charge, a specialist police officer. She's supposed to be in charge of knowing the difference between a firearm and a taser, and she couldn't even do that. But yet we're supposed to put all of our faith, the people of Minneapolis and the people who live in that state and other black people are supposed to put their faith in these police departments to protect and to serve them and have their best interests when we get pulled over, or if we get pulled over for regular routine traffic stops. And it's like, well, you wonder, you're already on edge when you get pulled over, first of all, and then when you take into account that you don't know if this officer is gonna be racially biased towards you, or you know, it's just be having a bad day. So let's get a little bit into the story. So this misleading title by the Associated Press says prosecutors reduce requested sentence for ex-cop Kim Potter. And this was today on 2/16/2022. So it says Minneapolis prosecutors have reportedly backed away from their pursuit in a longer than usual sentence for the suburban Minneapolis police officer who said she confused her handgun for her taser when she killed Daunte Wright, a 20-year-old black motorist. So just while we're talking about this area of Minneapolis, Minneapolis is in Minnesota, right? So Lizzo, the singer, is from Minnesota, right? In her song, she talks about the Minnesota Vikings, and she talks about how she's from Minnesota. Well, she did a whole press tour, if I'm not mistaken, in 2021 about how they were fat shaming her on Facebook and on Instagram, and how the comments were really hurting her feelings, and how Facebook and Instagram needed to do more to protect women like her, and this and the third. Well, why is she not being outspoken in regards to the George Floyd murder, which happened also in Minnesota, in the same police department in Minneapolis as this one with Daunte Wright and Kim Potter? That's just my question. Anyway, let's continue the story. So Kim Potter, 49, is scheduled to be sentenced on Friday, this Friday coming up. And they are trying to give her a 7-year sentence for manslaughter, first-degree manslaughter. Okay, so prosecutors are trying to get that reduced. Basically, long story short, it says that the presumptive sentence takes into account that the main elements of the conviction, the death of Daunte Wright, and defendant's recklessness. So it was a recklessness is what we're calling it. We're not calling it, like intentional killing of him, intentionally trying to threaten him, make him afraid of you all. Okay. It says that the state recognizes that this is a unique case given the context in which defendant recklessly handled her firearm. Okay. So my understanding is, regardless if this was intentional or accidental, if you are a trained police officer, aren't you supposed to make sure that mistakes like this don't happen? Aren't you trained to shoot different parts of the body? Don't you all have training courses on how to handle the firearms, how to properly clean them, take them apart, take care of them, when to shoot, when not to shoot, how to interact with the public? I'm just saying. It says video shows that Kim Potter shouted several times that she was going to tase Daunte Wright, but she had her gun in her hand and fired one shot into the chest. So again, it goes back to my point where, why was she aiming for his chest? And it doesn't even matter that she was aiming for his chest. She might as well have been aiming for his head, because she had intentions to cause harm to him. If she thought it was a taser, why did you aiming for the chest as a taser? That makes no sense, because with a taser is effective in any part of the body. But okay, we'll continue. So under Minnesota statutes, Potter, who is white, will be sentenced on only the most serious conviction, which is the first-degree manslaughter. So they're not going to charge her with anything else, like, reckless use of a firearm, or, not doing her job properly. It says that the 8.5 years, with the presumptive sentence being just over 7 years, the sentencing guidelines are advisory, but the judge can't go above or below them unless they find a compelling reason to. There is no indication in the court record that they have formally withdrawn the argument, but the document filed Tuesday indicates that they now believe the presumptive sentence is appropriate. Prosecutors initially argued that the aggravated factors warranted a sentence above the guidelines of 8.5 years. The prosecutor said Potter abused her authority as an officer and that her action caused a greater than normal danger to others. Exactly. So that's what I mean. They're not even charging her with that. They're just going ahead and charging her with the manslaughter, with the higher charges. Okay? And then it says that she's requesting probation. Potter's attorney said that she has no prior record and is remorseful and has an exemplary career as the support of family and friends. That's another reason that this is why she should be held accountable for this manslaughter, because once again, like they said in here, she has an exemplary record and has support of friends and family. Well, if she is so exemplary as an officer, what happened? And I would say that this is more than just a reckless accident or a mistake. She abused her position of authority in this particular case. Even if she did happen to mix up the taser with a gun, she still intended to intimidate him by shouting out that she was going to tase him several different occasions, like they said in the story. And then she couldn't tell the difference between the weight class of a gun and a taser. So, you can just miss me with it. And when did support of exemplary career and friends and family become a reason not to be charged with manslaughter? Okay. So that's a weak defense. That's not a defense at all. And then her lawyers also said that her risk of committing the same crime again is low because she's no longer a police officer. Well, that's not gonna stop her from committing the crime again because she could still go out here and get a gun and kill somebody else of color, or she could do a citizen's arrest. But okay, they said she would do well on probation, so they want to give her probation instead of giving her jail time. It says the judge would have to find that probation would serve society's interest and not Potter's, which it doesn't, and that the defense must establish that. But Frank is her lawyer. Frank also said that this could be some benefits to probation. Among them, Potter could speak to law enforcement groups or lawmakers about the dangers of confusing a handgun for a taser. But her job was to know the difference between a handgun and a taser. She actually taught other people the difference between the two. She taught other officers. So how now all of a sudden after she committed the crime, she's going to be able to teach people the difference between a handgun and a taser when it was her job to know the difference to begin with? Come on now, it makes no sense whatsoever. But okay, let's go on. Associated Press and her lawyers like miss me with it. Okay, it's her lawyers talking about how she could speak to the manufacturers about designing changes to avoid confusion. It was her job to know the difference between a handgun and a taser. There's a difference in the weight class between a handgun and a taser, and she actively was trying to say that she was going to tase him. So she had it in her hand and she couldn't tell the difference between tasing. And at the time, there was no immediate threat to her or to the other officers to even need the taser or the gun in the first place. They could have just issued a warrant for his arrest after the fact and they came and arrested him because they already had his information when they pulled him over. They had his tags, they had the warrant. Okay, so earlier in here in this video, I said that Frank was Kim's defense lawyer. That's not true. Frank is the prosecution who is arguing against Kim Potter's legal team, who were saying that she should get probation due to the fact that she has an exemplary career and that she has friends and family who can testify to that. And they're talking about how she can go, her defense lawyer is talking about how she should get probation because she could use this time and talk to manufacturers to be able to better, I guess, build the weapons differently to show that there's a difference between a taser and a gun. But my point is that she should have known the difference, especially when she was a police officer. She's trained on this. She's had several different occasions. And if she has such a long exemplary career, how come all of a sudden she couldn't tell the difference between a gun and a taser, even though she was acknowledging that she thought that she had the taser? And she's ignoring the fact that, and her defense team and her is also ignoring the fact that there was no threat to her or the other officer when they pulled over Daunte Wright. He was leaving the scene when they pulled him over. And if she has such an exemplary career, then she should have known how to handle these situations when someone pulls away from the scene, whenever they're pulled over, and they could have issued a warrant for his arrest, another warrant for his arrest. Instead, she chose to try and intimidate him by using the weapons. Okay, so that's what her defense team is arguing. So we're gonna wait and see what's gonna happen. I don't think that she should get probation, and I think that I don't understand why this Associated Press article makes it sound as if, even the title makes it sound as if the prosecution is wanting to have a lower sentencing, when that's not the case. It's her defense team wants to argue for a lower sentencing. They want her to have probation just based off of the fact that she had an exemplary career and she can have friends and family that can testify. That's what they're saying in this article by the Associated Press. And this just was released on 2/16. So let me know what you think down in the comments. Give this video a like or a thumbs down. I'm really interested to find out what they're going to talk about, or how, if the defense team is going to come up with more arguments, because they're just trying to say, well, instead of giving her 8.5 years, they want to really just give her 7. They want to give her anywhere from 4 to 7 years sentencing for first-degree manslaughter or second-degree manslaughter. That's what they want to give her. And with that being said, thank you for watching the video.